What is up YouTube and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mandarin Metal and today we are back on F1 and we're heading over to Monaco. Probably going to be the toughest race of the season yet. This track has been the bane of me. I can never get it right. I've been playing F1 for almost 10 years now and I am just absolute trash in this track. I can't get setups right, I can't get the cornering right, I've tried everything. But for you guys, I'm diving into it. I'm gonna try my best to at least put up a good showing at Monaco. But first, let's have a look at some of the upgrades. We've got 2,300 resource points to spend and we need to focus on some development, maybe get some small things going. One of our parts did fail, so we want to get this in before Spain. Spain is going to be maybe a very good race for us. We are aiming for a very good spot, maybe fight for the points, even maybe fight for podium position in Spain. So that's why we're getting in some weight reduction and we're getting in just some extra power into the car because, you know, we are lacking quite a bit. And we just want to improve. That's the thing. We are on a massive development train at the moment, trying to make sure that we are gonna perform towards the end of the season, maybe even into the second half of the season. Now, looking at some driver perks, I thought, you know, I haven't been focusing on myself as the driver or even any of our departments. So let's start upgrading our department because this is essentially what's going to help us develop our car faster. It's going to help us improve in each race. Now with the driver perks, we're just hoping for increased research points, and then also we want to improve our pit stop, so we are upgrading our pit equipment, making sure that we get the best out of everything. Heading over to Monaco, we can see it's nice and sunny. It's going to be beautiful. The race is going to be sunny. Quali is going to be sunny. And it means that we have no wet running, which is perfect. I don't need any more difficulty added to this track. It's already difficult for us. So we don't want to add any more difficulties by adding in wet sessions. That's just going to ruin the experience of Monaco. I know this track is a fan favorite for a lot of people, but I just could not care for this track. It is boring. You only worry about your qualifying position and then you go on with your life and you pretty much win from pole position. It's not my favorite track of the season. I went out in practice 1. I wasn't focusing on any practice programs. I'm just running the hard tires. I'm also going to run the soft tires. We want to focus on track and looking at how we can improve this on this track, because it is a very difficult track for us. We aren't good with these tight corners. Monaco is a very tricky circuit in terms of how narrow it is, and it's very difficult to overtake. The only overtaking opportunity you really have is this straight that we can see here, and we're needing to understand the car and how it's going to perform in each corner and how we can improve our lap time, if you guys understand. Now we also are running quite a bit of wear on our ICE and in our gearbox. This is Monaco, so I wasn't too worried about this because, you know, your qualifying position matters. When you get a good qualifying position, it's very hard to overtake here. You really have to be brave if you're thinking of overtaking anyway but the straight. And then coming out of that hairpin, I do spin the car, I hit the wall, and we have front wing damage. As you can see, this track is very narrow. If a car comes around that corner, it hits me, we're out of the session. So we need to get back to the pits. And with that, we are going to call it right here because there's no more running we want to do in practice 1. We've achieved all that we wanted. We understand the car a little better now. We know where to brake and where to accelerate and hopefully not get any wheel spin going out of the hairpins. The top three are Hamilton, Verstappen and Leclerc. We are currently P21 and our teammate is P16. As you can see, we are 2.4 seconds off the pace. This is just attributed to not having any confidence in the car and how narrow and how technical Monaco can be. It means that we need to do a lot more running and trying to improve our pace with these lap times. Now we are going to run the race strategy in P2. The temperature should come down a little. Hopefully we get a more favorable position, and we on the first lap wasn't too bad. We hit a 1:16 flat. It's not the best. Hopefully we can improve this as the laps go on, and we do improve by 3/10 on lap 2. Now going on to lap 3, at the end of lap 3 we weren't able to match the time that they wanted us to do. We were a second down off on the pace. And also again lap 4 we were again 1 second off the pace. We were just struggling quite a lot with the tires. They weren't performing the way I wanted it to, and we had just scraped by for our final lap of the race strategy. Now obviously this isn't optimal. This is going to kind of skew the data quite a lot, because you can see we have abnormally high tire wear. We should be a lot lower than what we are, but we are putting a lot of temperature into the tires and we are kind of sliding around, and it's just killing the tires. Now doing our qualifying sim lap, we thought it's a little bit of a corner cut. I'm kind of testing the limits on this lap. At least it's practice. We shouldn't get any penalties. Riding on board, you can see how narrow the track is, and it means that, I'm going to say it every race, most likely, you have to be clinical with where you want to position the car. As you can see there, I hit the wall. It means I've got front wing damage, and I completely lose all that time. I was 8/10 down on the time that they wanted us to put on. And yeah, where is it going to put us at the end of the session? It's not good going into qualifying knowing that we are struggling quite a bit. We are currently I thought we were P13, but it's our teammate running in P13. We are P16. We are still 1.3 seconds off the pace. It is much better than practice 1, where we were 2.4 seconds off the pace. So we did find a second. We have a lot of work to do going into qualifying. We need to see if we can make it into Q3, but we first need to get through Q1 and then Q2 before we can even think of Q3. We also want to try and get a good track position here. We don't want to be boxed in between a lot of cars, so making sure you go out on the right time in Monaco is also what helps you put in an amazing lap. What I like to do is I go out when there's literally no cars on track, because then we have no one disturbing us. We can literally just focus. We don't have to worry about there's maybe faster guys behind us or there's slower guys in front of us. This is all for us. This is what we can focus on. Now let's have a look. This is a heavy braking zone into turn 1, going up Boulevard, and we are now up into 6th gear, trying to carry as much speed, heavy braking zone into Massenet, then approaching Casino over here and turn 4. Then approaching turn 5, we need to kind of hug the wall as much as possible. Approaching the Grand Hotel hairpin, possibly the most difficult hairpin turn on the F1 calendar. And yeah, we're riding most of this part of the track. We are riding in first gear. There's a little bit of oversteer and overcorrection. We didn't want to hit the barrier. And now this little tunnel is so nice. The sound that you get out of it is absolutely amazing. Making sure you nail the Nouvelle chicane, which is turn 10 and 11. Now approaching turn 12, trying to keep it tighter, trying to keep the speed, almost hitting the barrier there. Then looking at turn 13, 14, trying to keep it clean and not putting your car in the barrier. Now turn 16, making sure you get a good line out here. Approaching turn 17 and 18, trying to keep it clean. Your DRS zone is right there, so you're going to open up your DRS, running to the line, and where does it put us? We are 3 seconds off the pace. This is not what we wanted to see, so it was not a good lap from us. We need to go again. Luckily, we don't use a lot of ERS on this lap, which means we can go again. We have enough fuel for it. there still is a lot of time that we can find. Now after turn 4 at the casino, we are 3/10 up, approaching turn 5. Keeping it close to the barriers as possible, making sure you don't hit it. Now hitting the Grand Hotel hairpin, we were almost 5/10 up, but we did lose a bit of time. We're sliding around, we're losing the back end of the car, but it's okay. Now going into the tunnel, we are 6/10 up, so we have made up enough time. 8/10, almost a second up going into the Nouvelle chicane. Turns 10 and 11, almost cheesing it, trying to keep it on the track. We don't want to get a track limit warning there. Approaching turn 12 now, keeping as much speed as you can and then not hitting the barrier here. Heavy braking zone into turn 13 and 14, approaching turn 16 now, making sure we stay nice and tight here, don't get oversteer. We are almost 3 seconds up. At this point, we are 3 seconds up. We jumped the curve a little, we 3.2 seconds up on our previous best. Where does it put us? It puts us P15. We are just behind our teammate, and that is a much better qualifying lap from us. Well done. We are still 1.2 seconds off the pace, and we are separated by 1,000th of a second from our teammate. And we are now on our final lap of qualifying. Where are we going to go? Almost cheesing that section. I almost got a track limit warning. I think I should have. It was not a good corner for me, but we take it. There was no track limits. Now through turn 4, approaching turn 5, hitting the heavy braking zone. Again, keeping it nice and clean here, nice and tight. Approaching the hairpin, trying to bring the car almost to a standstill because you want to get a good exit here. Going into turn 8 and then turn 9 where you have the tunnel. We are currently 6/10 up. We did lose a little bit of time on that corner, but it's fine. We are now approaching turn 10 and 11. This is the Nouvelle chicane. Hitting it nice and clean. Don't get track limit warnings there. Like I said, you could get hit with a track limit warning and you could get your time deleted here. Coming out of turn 12, we want to carry enough speed. I have just set the fastest second sector of the session, and then we are going to approach turn 16 here. Heavy braking zone, keep it nice and tight. Trying not to cause any wheel spin. I do hit the barrier there. We are currently 1/10 up, 2/10, now 3/10 up. Where's it going to put us? Are we going to be able to make it out of Q1? We are currently P10. What an amazing lap from us. It does mean that we got P10, but did the guys behind us improve? And no, they didn't. We secure a Q2 appearance with the Mercedes boys leading the front of the pack here in Monaco. Now going into Q2, we can see there is a little bit of rain forecasted, so we need to get out as soon as possible. I'm just making sure that there's no rain at the moment. We're gonna set on a new pair of soft tires, starting our Q2 lap over here, approaching turn 1, heavy braking zone, trying not to get any corner cutting warnings over there. And Leclerc is right on my tail. This is gonna make the lap a lot more difficult, trying to focus here, because these Ferraris are going to be a lot quicker than I am. Now through the castle section, now approaching turn 5, getting a nice exit here, a little bit untidy over there, approaching the hairpin, get a good exit out of the hairpin, turn 6, and then we go to turn 7 and now turn 8. I get a little bit of front wing damage, not good for the rest of the lap. But now through the tunnel section, the sound that you get out of this tunnel section is just so amazing. Now approaching the Nouvelle chicane, turn 10 and 11, making sure we hit it perfectly, and we do. No issues there. Approaching turn 12, carrying as much speed as possible, trying to avoid the barriers. Heavy braking zone here into turn 13 and 14, approaching turn 15 and now turn 16. Keeping it clean, but I've gone a little wide. This is not going to be good for the final lap time. Approaching the straight, DRS wide open up into 5th, 6th, and where does it put us? It puts us P3 with a 1 minute 14.9. It is not a great lap. This does mean that we need to go out again, but as you can see on our final attempt for the session, it starts raining, and this is just put a spanner in the works for our Monaco Grand Prix. It means that we will not be able to get out of Q2. We are already 5/10 down on this lap, and then I hit the barrier because I just have no grip on the tires, 1.3 seconds, and we just decide to get into the pits because there's no hope. We have absolutely made a mockery of ourselves here. Oscar Piastri leading the charge in Q2, and what a shambles from us. That performance from us was not good. We needed to do better.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco, then, is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo. And although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Verstappen, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Bottas, Joe, Ocon, Stroll, Tsunoda, Sainz, Iceman, Leclerc, Fittipaldi, Magnussen, Albon, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
And there you have it, guys. That is the starting grid for today. We are currently P15 in between a Ferrari sandwich. It is 5 lights, and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. Getting a good start. It's a little slow compared to the ones we've had before, but trying to avoid as much damage as possible, trying to avoid contact with these guys in front of us. We don't want to cause a collision. Running side by side with Carlos Sainz, we do hit the barrier just a little bit, and he is now attacking Tsunoda, but there is nowhere to go. Approaching turn 5, we were going to be late on the brakes, diving down the inside of Carlos Sainz, trying to keep this position, but also trying to avoid damage. We weren't able to keep it, but into the hairpin, we do manage it. A little bit of contact with Tsunoda and his wheel. Now, myself and Carlos Sainz running side by side in Monaco. This is a very tricky section. We need to keep it clean, and we do secure the position on Carlos Sainz. We are now up into 14th. Can we make our way through the pack? Approaching the Noval chicane now, turn 11 and 12. Tsunoda is just ahead of us. He is on the hard tires. We are on the soft tires. We are going for an alternate strategy, trying to make up as many positions as possible. Hopefully, in turn, this will help us in this Grand Prix. The thinking behind this strategy is that we can hopefully get a more favorable track position. Everyone around us is going to be running maybe a medium or a hard. They will want to go longer into the race, but if we can, maybe even if we get lucky with a safety car, we could get a better track position, and we're just thinking of the long game at this point. And yeah, we have been told that there is an issue with our ICE. The ICE, which means we have to have early upshifts and later downshifts. This is not going to bode well for us, but being Monaco, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've also got increased wear on the gearbox. We hopefully we don't get a gearbox failure, but if we can manage this correctly, we should be fine. We are making inroads into the guys ahead of us. We still have a massive mountain to climb in Monaco, and where are we going to end up? We don't know, but this is why we are here. We are trying to make the best out of a bad situation. The car is not performing. We aren't performing. I think we've been a little off the pace, but it's okay. We are making inroads into the guys ahead. We were 2.4 seconds back, but now we have fought back a second on them. approaching the end of lap 2. Turn 16 over here. George Russell has just put in the fastest lap. We are asked if we want to do an alternate strategy. We are going to take it, but we aren't boxing on lap 2. We will box a little later. Sainz is right on my tail. DRS is now enabled, which means that it's going to make it a lot easier for him to overtake us when the time comes. We do hope that things settle down quite soon, because then we can maybe put in some more favorable lap times. Carlos Sainz did get a better exit out of turn 8 compared to us, but it should be fine. We should be able to secure the position. But then we make contact. He sends me into the barrier. I've just lost my front wing. I've got damage on my tires. This means I have to come into the pits. I need to box. What was he thinking? This could very well be the end of our race, but let's not think of that right now. Let's get into the pits. Let's put on a new front wing. Let's put on a new set of tires, and hopefully we can claw back some time to these guys ahead of us. Maybe we get lucky later on. But wow, what a moment between myself and Carlos Sainz. I didn't think he was actually going to go for the move. Maybe I was at fault. Maybe I didn't give him too much space. But again, I didn't expect him to be right on my tail like that. We get a good turn in for the pit stop, which means that we should get an optimal pit stop over here. 7.6 seconds with front wing change. We're still ahead of Carlos Sainz. That's all we wanted. And now out of the pits, virtual safety car is ending on lap 4. And we are back underway for the Monaco Grand Prix. We need to focus. We are currently 16 seconds from Sargent. We are running in P21. We have now an even bigger mountain to climb in this Grand Prix, guys. This is not what we wanted. Now coming out of turn 12, we can't upshift. And we get hit with even worse news. This race has just gone from bad to worse for us. We aren't able to upshift. There's a fault in the gearbox, which means that the response of the gears are going to be a lot slower now. This could very well be the end of our race if we aren't able to fix this, or at least ride it out. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for this fault to fix itself, but we can't upshift. As you can see, we are going to struggle through all the corners. And now on lap 7, I hit the barriers. Already, I am 24 seconds behind the guys in front. We're driving too slowly, so we are causing a yellow flag. We can see on the minimap the guys in front leading the race are going to potentially overtake us. Our race really has gone from bad to worse. We can't change the gears. This is not good. The guys behind us are eventually going to overtake us. We're going to have to let them by, and we are just losing all this time. We're currently in neutral. At some point I thought maybe my settings were wrong, and that's why they were upshifting and downshifting by themselves. But I couldn't control the gears as much as I was trying. But the settings, we were still in manual, and now we have to let the guys in front go. We can't hold them up, otherwise we're going to get hit with penalties, and that's the last thing that we want. I'm driving a little slow, so I'm just giving these guys as much space as possible, trying to avoid any damage or any collisions, because we don't need to be the product of bad news. And at this moment, at the end of lap 7, our gearbox fault has sorted itself out. But does this mean we are able to recover from our race? We have to move out of the way for Verstappen, otherwise we will get a 5-second penalty, and we don't need any more time added to our race. This is just devastating. The guys behind us, they're just flying. We've just let Bottas pass. We're going to most likely have to let his teammate pass now as well. Joe is behind him. I move out of the way, making sure that I don't hold him up too much, because we are still under blue flag. The question now is, do we continue with the race, or do we box and retire from it? We make the executive decision. We've already been given a 5-second time penalty, so we are boxing this lap, and we are going to retire the car. We can't keep this up. We're almost a whole lap down from the whole field. We can't come back from it. I've just let Stroll by. We are a massive liability on this track. There's no hope for our race. I've made a little bit of contact with Leclerc, and yeah, we have to box, guys. We have to retire the car. I don't think we can continue with this race anymore. I've just let my teammate by, and then I've also let the Haas driver Magnussen by, and we are now in the pits. That is our race. We were not able to perform the way we wanted to perform. And George Russell is the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix. Hamilton is occupying the top step with him, and Lando Norris. Three of my favorite drivers. Is amazing to see. This is definitely not how we wanted the Monaco Grand Prix to go, but it is what it is, guys. We ended up not finishing the race. Enzo ended up being 19. Hopefully we can bounce back in the next race. We are heading to Spain. Very nice track. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of the Monaco Grand Prix, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace. Cheers, guys.